MAME chase.
So, welcome to another part of the Multisystem MAME streams, a set of streams where I'm looking at arcade games and home games of a given genre, and seeing how they compare, seeing what might have been fun in the home games that people that haven't seen the home games and only looked at the arcades might have missed out on, and vice versa, really. So, hopefully there'll be something for everybody in these streams. Now, I'm going to start with a game I've already covered in the last driving stream, and that's Final Lap, but I wanted to cover it again because there's been a fairly significant bug fix that has gone in over the last few days. And it's not just the title screen one. I mean, I fixed the title screen a few days ago, as you can see here in the demo. The title screen now renders properly. But there's also been a very important sound fix. So I am going to now switch over my view. I'm going to full screen this. And hopefully you will very quickly see how this has changed. Let's check the gears. Shift is that? Okay. Just checking my controls. I think I know. So, okay. Falling down a bit. Now. Okay, so previously, the Namco driving games on Namco System 2 hardware didn't have proper working engine sounds. Kale discovered how to fix that and put in a fix for it. And so they now do. And sorry, this is the worst I've driven in this game yet. But let me get the hang of this. This is the practice lap of it. So aren't I doing well here? Now, so I still don't really like these games that much. I think it's far too easy just to spin out as I'm doing here. But with the engine sound, they at least feel a little bit more playable. Although I don't really know what's going on right now. I can't get back on the track. I did not have this problem earlier when I was playing it. I think I've just ended up with the steering in a bad position. But yeah, so you can hear now there is an engine sound, there are crashing sounds. And that actually makes it a little bit easier to play, even though I'm not demonstrating that right now, because it's easier to tell when to change gear based on the engine sound. And when the engine was just a constant tone, you couldn't really tell. The steering is very sensitive, isn't it, to Game Glitcher? And hey Carlo, hey Super Volteca, and hey Game Glitcher. You do kind of get used to the steering after a while, but as soon as you start playing a different game, you get used to the steering on that instead. So yeah, it's very sensitive. So I changed gear too early there, so. I kind of feel like I feel like the steering's not quite working. I'm going to fire that back up because I couldn't steer all the way to the right that time. That's very, very odd. I've not had that problem before. So let me just try and fire it up again. So yeah, now my controls work as I expect. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't steer to the right properly. So I must have accidentally recalibrated it or something like that. Anyway, now I can steer again. Not that it's going to help, but... Yeah, unfortunately you can drive through a lot of obstacles. The collisions are a little bit off. I mean, one of the fixes I did make also is to fix the positioning of the road, because the road was about 8 pixels too far to the right. I needed shifting further left, and that was causing a bit of confusion because the obstacles weren't quite where you thought they were compared to the road, and the road's edge wasn't quite where you thought it was. But yeah, as you can hear there, the engine sound now actually works, and that is actually, to me, a big improvement. Maybe I can complete a lap. There we go. I completed a lap, and that will probably be my final. No, but that won't be my final lap. I've got to play this a little bit more because I did say I was going to demonstrate the fix. Now, Final Lap 1 actually runs a bit better than the other Final Lap games. The other Final Lap games have quite glitchy graphics in places that I'm still trying to get to the bottom of, especially with the sprite zooming, and I'll show that in a bit. You can see there's still the cigarette adverts in this game, because this was before there was quite a big crackdown on that type of thing. Oh dear. The original arcade was apparently one of the top earning games in Japan for 3 years. Hey Cow, well, I mean, yeah, it's my absolutely favourite game, but, you know, I did think I'd never have to come back to play this again, but since there were some bug fixes for it, it did become one of the games I have to look at again. And to be fair, I always appreciate bug fixes, and this is something that's been wrong in MAME for, well, 20 years. The sound on this. It turned out to be a really simple fix as well. It just needed a register readback adding in the sound chip. It couldn't read back the values it written or the status of the you know, the playback, and so it wasn't updating the engine sound properly. So, you know, it's a trivial, like, one-line fix almost to fix the engine, but it's been broken for 20 years. Get back on the road. Yeah, that wasn't good, was it? So there are quite a lot of bugs in MAME like that, actually, where for some reason they don't get looked at, and then somebody looks at them and says, oh, that was simple. How did that get left buggy for 20 years? But that's, I guess, the nature of MAME sometimes, isn't it? I don't know what else to really say about that. It's a bit annoying when it happens, because you think, well, you know, how come we didn't spot that? You know, annoyed with ourselves as much as anything else, because things like that shouldn't slip through the cracks, and then sometimes they do, and then they turn out to be obvious, and you go, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, the selling points of the linking feature. I mean, I was surprised to hear you can actually buy single upright cabinets, at least at the third game, but I don't see the point. I mean, the entire track mode is telling you about the multiplayer features that just wouldn't be available in that mode. Anyway, this is Final Lap 1. I do notice there's no dot on the radar. I don't know if that's a bug. It might be, actually. I have to check, make sure that's not sprite related. But yes, that's the original Final Lap. There could be other sprite related glitches, because the Final Lap apparently used an earlier version of the video board, which is why I had to disable the, you know, the sprite. What am I doing? Which is why I had to disable the sprite 32 by 16 by 16 tile support and fix it to 32 by 32. I've not done Boogie Boy yet, no Carlo. Yeah. Yeah, I think some of the Final Lap games you can do a loop back on them, can't you? And then you get your you get it to work even with a single PCB. Right, this needs the input configuring. So there we go. Oh, and I didn't launch it with mouse support. I'm doing well today. Right, here we go again. This is Final Lap 2. Where we can select the USA track. That looks like a nice simple track. It's a circle. Yeah. I mean, I think some of the 3D races require loopback as well to work. The sequels do have the mini map working, so I do think that might be a bug in the first game. I'm going to have to look into. Well, the radar, whatever you want to call it. But you can see the Final Lap 2, the graphics are a little bit improved, but it does this flickery thing with the sprites. Once you've passed a sprite, you get to see a massive version of it for a frame or so, and I don't know how those sprites are meant to be clipped out, so that's something I need to investigate. But you can see this also benefits from the engine sound improvement. So you can hear the engine rev, and you get a better idea of when to change gear, and that's kind of important. Now, yes, I did pick the oval circuit to give myself the best chance of actually doing anything. System 22 and onwards don't require loopback. I think I'm thinking of some of the Midway games. Maybe I think some of those might do, from what I remember in comments in the source. But I'm not 100%. I mean, emulation of racing games isn't something I spend much time on compared to other genres. Looking at it, I look at some of the genres in MAME. It's like I find half the games I've been somehow involved in emulating, but racing games less so. I mean, there's the System 32 ones and Cool Riders, but and some 2D ones, but not that many of the 3D ones. It's nice of them to give you an oval track, isn't it? It doesn't help if I do that, though. No, I'm not going to finish the track, am I? So I'm just not going to play these for too long because I don't like them. But I'll play them all a little bit. International Day for Biological Diversity. I thought it was also International Goth Day or something like that, Bob. And welcome, Bob. Thank you for joining. Fiat Uno ad. Let's go to Monaco. Yeah, there are lots of real adverts in this. I think this is... it is. Thank you for confirming. And also, but happy International Day for Biological Diversity too. That is an important day. This track's much narrower. But yeah, I think one of the selling points of this is that there are these real adverts. Again, it's sort of the real tracks with things people recognise, including the adverts. You can see the fix to the road position is noticeable here when you're driving up on the curbs as well. It actually corresponds more closely to where your wheels are, you see. So when that was out 8 pixels out, it felt odd because you were going to the side way before you hit the curb. And now with the positioning corrected, it makes more sense. Also, a lot of the bridges are better centered on the track. Not that one, because that one's not meant to be, but... Can I have a circular track again? So, I'll catch up with the chat in a moment. Well, at least I'm taking some other cars out with me. Come on, I need to complete a map. A Monaco. There we go. A lap of Monaco has been completed. Now it's not quite Super Monaco Grand Prix, is it? But oh, hi go. You see, you do sort of get that. I say that, I crashed again. You do sort of get the hang of the handling after a while. Although when you're spinning like this, it's not quite clear always what direction you have to press to get back out of the spin. If you had a real wheel, I guess it'd be more obvious. But I have a mouse. Evening Costado, evening Mick, and evening Bob, I think I said. Evening New Retro Plays, who mentioned the Fiat Uno ad. So that was final lap 2. So Namco did reuse their Link PCBs, did they, Mick? It kind of makes sense. If the tech works, then why not? Wish an arcade bar had 4 tracks instead of Super Off-Road. Really, Game Glitcher. I've never managed to get into 4 tracks. It's another one that the engine sound is improved on. Although I don't actually know if the road offset fix is correct for it. It should be, because it's exactly the same board as Final Lap. But there could be a register we're not understanding. 4 tracks. Now 4 tracks is actually quite interesting in the sense that there was a set added a few years ago now that's got the billboards censored. So I guess that was around the time they were starting to become legal issues with the billboards in the games. So the Namco must have put out a specific update to change them and censor them. You can see there's real adverts in this for things like Coors beer there, I think it was. But again, you've got engine sound here, and I'm pretty sure the engine sound on this is another one where it was broken before. Let go of the accelerator when in the air. Okay. Does that help? Well, so far I'm not doing great. See, I really like Super Off-Road, so I think I would have been disappointed if an arcade had this instead of Super Off-Road. Do I have to change gear when I go low? But, yeah, so again, the engine sound fix applies to all the Namco racing games, so this should sound better now, and hopefully the road position fix is correct here too, and the road is better centered. I mean, it's difficult to tell because some of the objects sort of cover parts of the road anyway, but oh dear, I think I spun out there. But yeah, I mean, I'm starting the stream by looking at these Namco games. I will be moving on to some home games shortly, because, you know, that's the point of the stream. But well, this is a lot older than the MX versus ATV games, isn't it, Super Veteca? I did quite enjoy some of those. I've got the PS3 ones at least that I played a fair bit of. But I was never very good at them. I could complete them, but I do enjoy a good dirt racer, though. But there we go. That is 4 tracks. Now, I'm going to quickly put on the clone of that, actually. Yeah, 4 tracks A, US censored mode. What's going on? Oh, I forgot to turn off the external drives again. Hold on. First place again. Yes, Cow. I'm always in first place. I mean, that is. I must be really good at these games. Fantastically good at these games. Yeah, if I don't turn off the external hard drive, I get a delay while it spins up because it's looking for ROMs on there, and that's not exactly what I want when I'm streaming, is it? So this is the US version with censored banners. So you can kind of immediately see it's got a dirt track banner there, Dirt Trax. Which, is it Dirt Fox, actually? Dirt Fox, the other Namco game, not Dirt Trax. I'm getting the Taito mixed up. Speed Racers is still incorrect, Andrea. It's one I need to look at still. So yeah, Dirt Fox banner instead of a Cause banner and things like that. And there you go, you've got a 4 tracks banner. Why is it advertising 4 tracks? But you see, in this set, they have replaced the banner graphics. There is a specific ROM replaced on the board of mask ROMs with, you know, a regular EEPROM just to replace the banners. So clearly, they must have been told they had to take them out. And I think it was around the time several other games were having to take out their advertising banners. But I'm not going to be any better at this. What's the green one? Oh look, I crashed. What's supposed to be due to a bad ROM? I've not quite caught the whole track. I don't think Speed Racer is a bad ROM. I think it's just bad emulation of the rotation layer. I mean, I need to look at the rotation layer in a bit of detail because, I mean, it's not right even for Metal Hawk. And the FO games are going through a very much simplified version of the code too, which is probably lacks some of the features entirely that I needs. Yeah, now I'm stuck. So, I don't know. I appear to have. I think I've. What? Now my controls are broken or something. I don't know. Oh well. No, I ran out of time. I'm finished first again because, you know. Yeah, the fake ones, the fake billboards in general are quite funny, aren't they? With like a few letters changed, and you have to really study them to realise they're fake sometimes. But yeah, this has got, say, the replaced billboards. You can see these aren't beers anymore. These are just Namco games being advertised in the Namco game, including 4 tracks being advertised in 4 tracks. Right, of course, this one benefits from the fix 2, a Suzuka 8 hours, which is really just final lap with bikes. Again, you now have an engine sound. And before you just had like a single tone and no engine sound. You have crash sounds and everything else too now. So again, this one is really much improved. The road positioner fix applies here as well. So yeah, I mean, there's still some issues that I need to look at, like I said, especially the flickering sprites, although this one isn't as bad as Suzuka 2 for that. But otherwise, yes, there's a nice batch of fixes for these Namco games in the next release. And the next release will be on the 26th, I believe, Wednesday, next Wednesday. There's no gears in this, it's just automatic. So it's more playable than Final Lap, yes. For some reason, never as popular as Final Lap, though. It still suffers from the same, you know, you really need a link setup for it to be worthwhile playing, and MAME doesn't support the link, because it's mainly player versus player, but it feels like it handles a lot nicer. You're not just spinning off the track the whole time. Also, it's automatic on the gears, so that's easy for me, because I struggle with manual gears on most games. Yes, I believe the fix also improves Looking Wild, Danny. I'll look at Looking Wild later in the stream. But the road fix applies to Looking Wild too, and I think the sound fix applies to Looking Wild. Also, the sound fix helps Steel Gunner. The machine guns now play the firing sound in game. So it's fixed quite a few things in the Namco drivers. It's definitely one to check out in the next release. Ooh, going a bit fast there. But yeah, this seems to have a day-night cycle effect going on too, which I guess makes sense because it's meant to be a 24-hour race. So, yeah, if I had to choose one of the Namco racing games from this hardware, I'd choose probably this one, or maybe the sequel. But, because the emulation glitches aren't as severe on this for the sprite zooming, I'd probably choose this one for now, at least until I work out, or somebody works out, if I can't the cause of the sprite glitching on the zooming sprites. Oh. Yeah, it's much nicer. I feel like the game's worth playing now. The engine sound is correct. It gives you a better sense of speed. How are you doing? How are you taking the corners? I think I always crash on that corner because it's so sharp. Ouchie! Did I hit a cow? Again, cow. I hope I didn't. I didn't see a cow. But anyway, shall I put Suzuka 2 on briefly, and then we'll move on to a console game or two, because we've been looking entirely we've been looking entirely at Namco arcade games to start off with, but that is simply because that's what was fixed, so kind of makes sense. Let's go with the Green Hill circuit. I'm expecting to see Sonic the Hedgehog here. Don't disappoint me. First place in all games. Yeah, this is my best run so far. I've done fantastically well. I don't usually finish first in everything I play. Here you go. Suzuka 8 hours 2. Graphics have been spruced up a little bit. But yeah, it's pretty much the same sort of game as the previous one, isn't it? Minor update, not a major reworking of the game. But still, again, engine sound is improved. So we have Kale to thank for finding the fix to the engine sound. Again, it's one that probably should have been fixed years ago. It's not a complex fix, but it's there now, and that's what counts, really, isn't it? I just kind of can't believe these have been in MAME for 20 years or so with that bug. But these things happen. Now what would be really good is if I could actually complete a race. That's not happening. So let's go. Yeah, the turns on this seem gentler too. So you've got less sprites jumping around, because on tight turns the sprites jump around more in these games, I've noticed. So this course itself isn't too bad for the sprite flicker, unlike one or two of the others. There we go. Lap 3. Yeah, I'm playing this on mouse and keyboard at the moment. Mouse for steering and keyboard for accelerator. And that works for me. To the straight. Final lap? No, that's not what this game's called. Don't remind me of final lap. I don't wish to be reminded of that. No, I'm not going to make it. So close, so close, so close. Andrea, I'm just using the CRT GM Deluxe, the built-in one, the standard one, with the BGFX. So I've not changed any settings on it. It's just whatever the default MAME settings are for that. Also, I discovered how you cause this bug. If you close the sliders menu with the tab button, and then hit the title key to bring up the sliders down there, it doesn't bring the sliders up. It just does this until you open that with tab and actually exit from this menu, which is a really annoying UI bug. But yeah, apparently that's the thing. I don't know how the road colours are bad. I mean, there's still a comment in the source saying the road colours are bad, but maybe they've just been fixed without that comment being removed. See, this track's really glitchy and flickery, as you can see, but that's a separate thing. That's what I need to look into fixing. It could be a simple timing bug. It might be rendering half complete for sprite lists or something. We'll see. I've not got time to dig into that for the next release, because the code freeze was is tomorrow. The source says the colours are bad, but maybe the colour just the comment has just been updated. I've not heard from Andreas in a while, YouTube visitor, so I don't know if he's still around or not. I know the blog closed down. It's probably one of those things where if you don't log into your blog for so long, it gets closed down. But I've not heard from him in a while. The last I heard was the System 10 decryption work, and that was a few years ago now. So who knows? Who knows? Right. Where shall I go next? Let's go for something very different indeed. Let's go to the SNES. Now, this one is a licensed game. It's the Biker Mice from Mars game from Konami. Yeah, the colours seem the same as, from what I can tell, Game Glitcher. I've looked at original videos while I've been trying to fix these bugs, and I didn't notice any colour issues. But who knows? I think the sprites probably just jump on hills anyway, Bob. I think it's just how the game is. And yeah, I was wondering where Sonic was too, Cow. I selected Green Hill and thought Sonic would be there. But yeah, this is a Konami game that was exclusive to the SNES, I think. Okay, I don't think I've got pad controls, so let's make the best of the controls if I can. Actually, no, let's actually not do that. That would be silly. Let's actually set some controls up here. Start select. Up. That should be a bit easier. Right. So yeah, this is one of those isometric driving games, and obviously it's based on the the Bike and Mice from Mars show, which was popular back in the 90s. And Konami did do really good licensed tie-in games, and this is probably one of them, I'd say. Didn't make it to the arcades, which is kind of a shame because I think this could have worked in the arcades. But for a home game on the SNES, this is a nice little racer. So yes, it's wicked. It's very 90s, isn't it? Very 90s indeed. So, this type of isometric racer was popular all over the place. I mean, you've got arcade games that were like this. Obviously, World Rally is a famous isometric arcade racer. But this one has some more kart racer elements to it. Also, avoiding things is a good idea. Yo, speed up. Rock on. Now, I never really liked the show, I'll admit. I really could not get into the show for this. So, I don't think this game would have appealed to me at all back in the day based on, the show. But looking at it as just a game out of context of the show, yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. Better than a lot of other, licensed games, but you do expect that from Konami. Oh, you can fly stars, which might be a good idea for me to try and do. I'm quite far behind now, unfortunately. There we go. That's how you get ahead. Stop reminding me of Final Lap. What is it with these games? I'm going to finish fourth, which isn't where I wanted to finish. Yeah, fourth. Yeah, it does make more sense than a beat 'em up based off a one-season show than a MAME Super Volteca. I mean, MAME is a good game, and thank you to Asutua for following. Sorry, I didn't quite catch the name there, but thank you for following. I hope you're enjoying the show if you're watching it right now. And hey Leoga and hey Andreas. Yes, this is a SNES game, Andreas. Andrea, not Andreas. Andreas, sorry. Andrea, this is a SNES game. And hey Leoga, as I said, welcome. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people did love this show. It's not a show I say I especially loved, but I kind of get the appeal of it. I mean, I think these days I'd appreciate the show more than I would have as a kid. I wasn't really into the whole rocky stuff as a kid, and obviously this is kind of that style. Right. I'm just going to swap some inputs around. I don't know, I can't remember ever which way the these are meant to be on a SNES pad. Oh, thank you Ocean Boy aka Hero Roboto. Thank you for subscribing. if you're watching, welcome to the stream. Feel free to say hi in the chat. What am I doing now? Okay, let me try and get this right. So now I'm behind and don't stand a chance, but yeah, my SNES mappings were all wrong. I do wish MAME sort of gave you a visual representation of the pad so you knew how it was meant to map, because it's something to get wrong all the time, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. In theory, you know, you could probably do leverage the SVG. And hey cow, thank you for subscribing too. And welcome. I know you're watching. You are mooing away there in the chat. Oh, and thank you, Andrea, for also subscribing. Try to have a catch up. But yeah, I'm not going to play Final Lap on the Famicom. No cow. Although there is another Final Lap game I might play, because you know, I like to torture myself in ways other than using hot sauce. But yeah, I probably will look at another Final Lap game in a bit, actually. Maybe even next. Am I really sick? Oh dear. That wasn't very nice. I feel like you can wheelie. Down, you know. Probably helps as well. Very hard to hit anything with the shot though, unfortunately. Ow. I think the Mr. stuff's a good idea. It's a good option to have. I don't think it's going to replace traditional emulation, and it's kind of a lot harder to work with in many senses, to develop with, to figure things out with. So if you're trying to work out how a system works, it's not a great thing to be doing. But if you know exactly how something works and you just want to copy an implementation, it can be pretty good. I mean, they're not going to be perfect. A lot of the cores you get are quite buggy. People act like they're completely perfect, but they're only as good as whoever writes the code for them. But yeah, they're a good alternative to have. The Sharks one was. I also got the Prime sub. Thank you, Andrea. I mean, I'll have to try and make sure I actually do some streams on Twitch at some point, because I've sort of been doing all YouTube. Because when I stream on YouTube, I get like 30-40 people watching. When I stream on Twitch, I don't get many at the moment. So I'm going to have to try and correct that somehow, but I'm not sure how at the moment. Okay, and you are the other. Oh, it's your Twitch name. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for subscribing and everything on both. It is appreciated. you know, humanoid. I apologise on the behalf of the Berserk robot then, cow. Yes. Anyway, so yeah, Mike and Mice from Mars on the SNES. I kind of enjoy it. I need to play it a bit more. It's been ages since I played it, and I've forgotten most things about it. But it is, yeah, it's a pretty good one. That it's one of those Konami games that, if you only know Konami Arcade, you might have overlooked. And I think it should have been an arcade game, but it wasn't. So right, we're going to stick with consoles. or computers or something like that. Right, let's have a look at something on the Wonderswan. Am I going to leave my CRT display off, or is it going to be wrong for this? Is it going to fix? It's probably going to clip it a little bit, isn't it? Yeah, okay. It's not really a CRT anyway, is it? So, let's just use that. Right, this isn't quite emulated perfectly. There seem to be some issues with layer clearance, but this is Final Art Special. So I could potentially switch filter, couldn't I? We've got different filters in here. LCD grid? That'll do. So, let's go with a championship. Let's go with the Rookie League. Let's go with the red car and automatic transmission. See, this happens. I don't know if that's a bad DMA or something else, but it just corrupts the screen there and like doesn't clear that corruption properly. The last does seem a little bit flickery too, but that's a very weird thing it does at that point. It's like it looks like an invalid DMA or something to me, but it only really affects the game there. Otherwise, this is a more modern, colourful, slightly slower version of Final Lap for the Wonderswan colour. It's giving me a nice round oval circuit. So yeah, Final Lap was a popular series. It got ports to things like the Wonderswan. As mentioned, there's a Famicom version of it. There's a PC Engine version of it as Final Lap Twin, I believe. So while I might not think highly of the series, it was popular enough to get, you know, these ports. And it's kind of telling that the PC Engine one is Final Lap Twin with 2-player mode, because again it emphasises that it's really meant to be a 2-player game. But yeah, I've not featured that much Wonderswan on the stream, but it's nice to, you know, pull it out every now and again. Yeah, this one doesn't for split screen, but I think split screen on a handheld would be a little bit awkward, cow. I mean, I can't imagine trying to cram 2 people around a Wonderswan. I mean, a bit easier than trying to cram 2 people around maybe one of those new mini Game Gears, but I think even trying to cram 1 person around those is difficult. I think the engine noise here is quite irritating actually, but yeah, it's an alternative option if you want to play a Final Lap game with without you know, oversensitive analog controls too, because this is just a D-pad. So naturally it maps a bit better and is designed to play on a keyboard or a D-pad, but I'm using a keyboard. Just sound more like the bobsleigh game on the corners. Oh. Yeah, Mo, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of the FPGA implementations are just copying what's in MAME. They're not based on the PCB, and especially with things like that, where it's all in a custom chip in the first place. Unless the custom chip is, you know, decapped, studied and figured out entirely, as was done for the Konami multiplier chip on Contra, then all you've got is, you know, MAME as a reference, and it ends up being the same as MAME. That's why I say they're not magic. They're only as good as the information available. Yeah, and the author's understanding of the hardware, which is often based on MAME. Again, we've got the corrupt layer here. So shame I don't know enough about Wonderswan hardware to really investigate that. But I really don't. What's in Master League now? I can't select Master League. Okay. I can't select that either. Let's select a slightly trickier track. Oh. I'm not allowed to select the tracks? Okay, I don't quite get that. Doesn't want me to select... I guess I have to complete it in the championship before I can select on time attack or something? Okay. No, oh dear. No. Okay, we're not going to see another track on that. It's making me play the same track again. I was hoping we could play a different track, but I think you have to actually win the tracks to advance and unlock other tracks. And yeah, that's probably not happening because, well, you know, I'm not that good at the game. Right. Let's go with... I looked at Daytona last time, didn't I? So let's do something similar. Let's have a look at Sega Rally, another Model 2 game in MAME. Again, it's marked as not working because, you know, technically it doesn't work, but I'm sure we can do something with it. Two coins. Championship. So I do instantly notice the speedometer doesn't work, which you know, might put a few people off. And I think you do sometimes hit invisible things in the course. But again, like Daytona, this does actually work better than anybody gives it credit for in MAME. You know, you can play it. You can enjoy it a little bit. And it's Sega Rally, you know, classic. It's just not as emulated as well as, say, the actual dedicated Model 2 emulator. But it's fast, it's smooth, and it doesn't look too bad, really. It looks a lot less washed out than Daytona. Yeah, Groovy MAME's got a good reputation. A lot of people make use of that. And it's kept updated with the latest version of MAME too, which obviously helps. Because, you know, it's not like people trying to use advanced MAME in 2021 where you're getting a 20-year-old version of MAME with bad emulation, so it doesn't matter if it works on a CRT because it looks terrible anyway. So yeah, Groovy MAME is a good option. Groovy MAME is sort of 90s levels of groovy. It's like Groove on Fight groovy. Might even be Radical Rex Radical, but it's not called Radical MAME, but that could have been an alternate name. Maybe if somebody wants to fork Groovy MAME and call it Radical MAME, just for that added 90s effect, they could. I don't really know. I think driver signing could be an issue these days, and driver complexity, and obviously card compatibility with machines. But it's not one I use. But I know it's one that is well thought of. Oh, no! Oh, flying car. Whoa! I don't know if that's meant to happen. Well, that's just my driving. Rolly car. Yes, I'm free. I think a lot of the Groovy MAME stuff is too specialised to integrate, Mick. I mean, a lot of it is kind of risky as well. I think some of their settings risk breaking stuff as much as making it work. So if you don't know what you're doing with it, it can cause problems, from what I understand. So it's possibly best left in, you know, the niche it's in. But I don't know. These driving lessons are paying off. Yes, these driving lessons are absolutely paying off. I'm gonna be the next Colin McRae. Actually, I'll play Colin McRae next, I think. Then I can be the next Colin McRae. Although, you know, hopefully... Was that a cow? I think that was a cow I didn't hit because it doesn't let you hit. This game appears to have cow protection. Definitely a main bug. It's not just my driving though. Yeah, I mean, there are some TGP issues. Virtual Racing still clearly has a few issues caused by the TGP emulation that probably aren't just typo errors in the decap optical transfer thing. I forgot my words. The mirror doesn't work either, does it now? But you see, it's about 75% of the way there, the emulation of this, but unfortunately it's getting the rest of it is tricky, very tricky. But it is playable. Whoa. Yes, give me a boost, thank you. Much appreciated. I like it when it says maybe. Oh dear. Time is up. This looks like you driving home from work. Can't blame you. Game over. Yeah, that's Sega Rally. I mean, it runs. You're probably less playing it in the Model 2 emulator, but it's sitting there waiting for somebody to come and improve it. Really, maybe not necessarily one of the actual MAME developers, but there's opportunities for people to get involved with MAME and improve things like that. So we want. Oop. We want that. So this was requested on the previous stream. This is Colin McRae Rally 2 for the PlayStation. Moon Edition. I see, sometimes with these games I'm never sure because the physics in some of those old races were a bit odd at times. But yeah, Virtual Racing does the same in some places, just end up in the air randomly, and yeah, so it's probably a bug in the TDP emulation. Yes, Super Sprint would fall into the category YouTube visitor. I did look at Super Off-Road last time, but I think Super Sprint is still on the to-do list. Okay, let's play in Finland. A lot of PS1 stuff works really well, Andrea. I mean, with PS1 it tends to be a case of if it boots, it's probably going to work. I looked at one last week which was Motor Tune, where it's really heavily glitched even though it does boot. There's some texture format problem, something like that, I'm not sure. But a lot of games, especially early Japanese ones, don't boot at all, and a few games will fail during loading. But if that doesn't happen, then the actual games tend to play fine. The protected European ones don't work with the images that are known because they have no way of loading the protection data. But in general, the US versions didn't use that type of protection, which is why here and for any other game, I tend to pick the US version on this as possible because I know a lot of Codemasters ones, especially, were protected. I think. DuckStation has problems with this one. That surprises me at GP. Although, if you're trying to run it in sort of high resolution modes, then anything is possible. Because it's always a bit of a hack if you're trying to use high resolution modes, and there's no guarantees with that stuff. But DuckStation itself, if you want high resolution mode, seems to have the best reputation for doing a good job. Okay. So this is obviously a slower paced rally game than Sega Rally, because this is meant to be a slightly more serious rally game. But it's obviously a famous game. one of those that really helped establish Codemasters' reputation for doing quality racing games. Really good game, actually. Few PlayStation games have SPU sound issues. The most notable one, I think, is Metal Gear Solid, unfortunately. Again, I'm sure these are fairly simple bugs that are just waiting for somebody with a little bit of knowledge about the system to come along and fix them. Probably turn out to be a single line fix, like the final lap fix, when somebody does find it. There's a lot going on for a PlayStation 1 game here. There's a lot of trees, a detailed road. Well, this game is that game that has the reputation for every obstacle being, you know, immovable rock. You can get stuck behind a little bush forever. But yeah, I enjoyed this one as a kid. Or teenager. Or however old I was. Reverse. I mean, Duck Station is more based on hardware acceleration and enhancing the graphics, where Medafen is more for accurate emulation, even if, you know, RetroArch have tried to make a mess of that. Yeah, this is a solid PlayStation 1 game that, you know, makes the hardware look really good. Doesn't make my driving look very good, though. But you do learn the tracks eventually. I mean, on the PlayStation 3, some of the games I played, most of the rally games, and I did actually end up quite good at them in the end. Yeah, that is hard to emulate, mess drivers. It's a funky little trick, that one. Don't some Dreamcast things do that for the boot CD? Yeah, Duck Station tries to get rid of the warping, although if the game itself is trying to compensate for that in some way, it can end up looking worse. Now, I personally prefer to play games as they looked, as they were meant to look. So, Duck Station is not my type of thing. But, you know, that's a personal preference. I'd rather play a PlayStation game like this with a nice little CRT filter. Again, I think this could have easily been an arcade game. I think one of the later Codemasters games did make it to the arcade, although I've not heard the best things about it, the port. That was a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I think Sega were involved with that one. Get over the road. No, it's one of those trees. You see, if there are any cows in this game, the cow isn't going to get hurt. The car is going to get hurt. Well, I've not encountered any yet. I don't think Finland has many cows in the forest. Santeri would probably confirm if he was around. But yeah, this isn't really an obscure game, so I don't want to spend too long on it. But it is worth showing off because it shows the main PlayStation emulation in a good light. I'd say this one. It shows that it can handle the more advanced games very well. It's just to get those odd exceptions. Like I wanted to play the Nichibutsu classic collection thing that's got Crazy Climber 87 on, and that just doesn't boot. So I don't know what it is with some of the Japanese discs especially, but again, it's probably something really simple that just hasn't ever been fixed properly. So yeah, Colin McRae 2 on the PlayStation. A good fun one that I enjoyed back in the day and enjoyed. Yeah, maybe that was the Ford Racing one, Mick. I think Codemasters were involved somehow from memory, but I don't really know. Right. Okay. I was going to play this one on the last stream, but I couldn't find it. So this is for the TVC64, a Videotron system. A Videotron system from '85. Now, I don't know if this is an original game or a port from something else. This is the Videotron TV computer. Okay, how do I load it? Okay, load. That probably works. On tape. No, this, that's a bit loud. So, Novotrade, Formula 1. It's a Hungarian game, basically. What do we do that? I think I crashed. I don't think it's related to the C64. But I've never heard of this system, I've never heard of this game, and I was just searching for things that sound like Formula 1, and this came up. And it's basically a Formula 1 game in Hungarian. I'm probably meant to have gone down a few gears to do these corners. It is a little bit slow, isn't it, Mitchell? Novotrade did do Echo the Dolphin, but I doubt this is related to that Novotrade, but who knows? Unless this is a hack of a Novotrade game on another system, or there's a story I don't know here. I don't know anything about this game, I'm not going to lie. I just picked it up because it said Formula 1. Picked it out even. And it's probably a Formula 1 game in MAME on a system that nobody's ever really used. Nobody really played. Unless it's that port of something from another system. But it's a Hungarian Z806845 system. Yes. So there you go, GP. It's a little bit close to the CPC than a C64. Yes. Let the TVC renaissance begin. Yes. But, you know, I do like to pick out the odd, unusual, unexpected choice on these streams, and so I thought for this stream, this is probably that one. No, it's not a C64 clone. It's a Z80, according to MAME in the chat there. I could just bring it up on screen. But, you know, the CPC is a Z80 and a 6845 clone. Wow, I'm going fast now. Not that you can really tell. I thought I'd selected manual automatic gears at the start, but I didn't, so that's kind of not helping me here. I felt like I went straight through that car, which is probably best for all of us. Yeah, my gear's too high now. Yeah, the emulation of this game seems solid. I don't know about the other games in the driver because they're mostly in Hungarian. Yeah, I can't go anywhere in 0 gear, can I? But yes, it does seem solid enough. I do wonder if it is a hack of a game on another system. Not a game I'm familiar with if it is. Who is credited for this driver? Is it one of Mikko's drivers? Also, I'll catch up with the chat shortly, just in case there's anything I missed. I kind of just want to see how far this game goes. I'm assuming there's a set number of laps or something you complete. It's not going to be a 24-hour Grand Prix. There don't appear to be any pit stops. There's a finishing line. Doesn't tell me how many more laps I've got to do, unless... No, I can't see anything that tells me how many laps I've got to do, so I might just drive around a little bit more and then quit it, because I think you've seen pretty much what this game has to offer. Mikko and Sandra Ronco. That doesn't surprise me too much. I thought, because it's say it's one of those Eastern European systems, I thought Mikko might have had something to do with it. And indeed he did. Hey Delta Race Studios, thank you for joining, hope you're doing well. And hey Zontar, I see, yeah, she made the Novotrade comment. Thank you for joining and welcome. So yeah. I've been playing this for 6 minutes now apparently, and I think 6 minutes of that game is enough of that game. So, shall we go back to the arcades for a bit? Yes, let's go back to the arcades for a bit. Let's go arcade, but arcade, oldie arcade. Old arcade. This is Long Beach by Seletron and Olympia. So this will be an Italian game. What's it like? Let's find out. It seems to be quiet. It's probably got no sound emulation. Okay. What are the controls? Oh, okay. Lots of different gears. Let's do something like that. An analog pedal. Oh, an analog control. Okay. Let's relaunch it then with mouse. So no sound, that's okay. Low gear, oh okay. That doesn't control how I'd expect it to. Okay, I'm going to play this on keyboard. Let's try again. Let's try again, right. So I think you have to hold down the gear you're in and the accelerator. Maybe. Right, so I thought this was going to be a Monaco GP clone. But it's not a Monaco GP clone. You actually rotate the car, which really confused me. And you get your 4 different gears. Do I have to hold them down? No, I don't have to hold the gear down. I just have to be in the right gear. Unfortunately, with there being no engine sound, it's kind of difficult to gauge it. It's like the final lap from a few weeks ago all over again. Well, from a few weeks ago, the other day. So it's a up the screen racer with a bendy track. Not what I was expecting at all, actually. This has kind of got an early Atari feel to it more so than anything, I'd say. If you know, your fire truck and the like. Superbug. Is it Superbug? The Atari racers. It was made by the same Novotrade. That is impressive. So yeah, I guess it was ported then somehow. I don't know if they did the official port. Where were Novotrade based? Were Novotrade actually based in Hungary or something? Or I don't know much about Novotrade. Maybe there is a more important story to that game than I realised. So Olympia did quite a lot of games back in the day in Italy. I think some of them still aren't fully emulated in terms of the gameplay. And there's quite a few Monaco GP clones and things from back in the day that use CPUs that still aren't fully emulated. The gameplay here seems to work. It's a shame there's no sound. Did Olympia do Vega too? That one Doc's worked on for a long time that still never quite got to working state? Or is that somebody else? Problem with a lot of these early games, they do have a mix of, you know, regular CPU-driven components and some analog components and very specific video circuits. So without schematics, working them out can be quite tricky. But yeah, the emulation of this one actually seems to be fairly good. Just seems to be a very simple track that's looping around, but I don't know if that's just because that's the first stage or this is the whole game. But found in Hungary. So yeah, it could be that they worked on that game in Hungary, and that's an official version on the Videotron. So that game is possibly more significant than I realised it was. See, I find things out myself on these streams, and it's always good, you know, when I've got people researching things and throwing facts at me that I wasn't aware of, and that is one of them. So I'm glad I played that one now. And kind of again shows the importance of MAME covering all these different systems, because I don't think anybody's going to go out of their way to download a dedicated emulator for that system. But with it being right there in MAME, I was easily able to have a look at it. Ooh, that car's going very fast. So yeah, this is Long Beach. It seems very simple, but it's kind of, you'd expect a game from 1979 to be very simple. So, you know, it does what it says it does. It's a racing game where apparently at 250 km you get extra fuel. Maybe I even got that, but didn't notice because there's no sound to indicate it. But probably not, because it looks like that takes some doing. And the record is only 153, so no, I definitely didn't get the bonus fuel. So I should really have some music on standby for games like this, so I can just put a tune on in the background. I should probably look at some Creative Commons stuff or the like, or just, you know, record the music from another game. I do have WAV files of the Raiden Fighters countdown music, but I don't think that really fits. We can try. Hold on. Is that better? Now you can pretend there's a countdown on screen while you're flashing Raiden fighters. Yeah, this is simple but playable. Which is why I keep giving it another credit and another coin. It's one of those where if you learn the course, you can master it quite easily. You learn when to change the gears. I'll probably put a CPC game on next. One Zypho was showing last night, actually, on his Sugars Awards ceremony. I think I geared up too early there, yeah. Where did you get that fact, GP? I thought he used Vespertino to prepare for karting. Yeah, this game has unemulated discrete sound, Bob, which is why I've just put the Raiden Fighters flash music on, just so there's some music. Anyway, that is that game. That was Long Beach by Olympia Seletron. So, sounds like Mortal Kombat, Mitchell. That was the Raiden Fighters flash music that you get with it doing the 99 to 1 countdown. I don't know, I wouldn't say Mortal Kombat. But, yeah. So, Amstrad CPC. Now, the author of this game goes into great detail about the physics simulation he's done for the car. This is by Alberto, I believe. The normal version is a free download. You can also purchase a digital version or purchase a physical version, but the physical version is €70, which is a little excessive for what the game is. Especially when it's just a floppy disk and basically a DVD case. So I don't know why they want to charge €70 for it, but there you go. But it's an interesting little game for the CPC. It's not graphically fantastic, but right. Okay. Racing, yeah, you need an engine sound at some point just to get the idea what gear you're in and things, Bob. So yeah, this is a sort of physics-based racer where every element of the car wheels has been individual wheels is simulated, and the sprite is sort of internally much higher resolution than it renders out. So you've got lots of skidding, and you know, it doesn't use any kind of analog controls, which kind of make me think it can't be that accurate. But if you want a game where you can drift around corners, this Deva drifter thing is it's not a bad little game. Unfortunately, it's just one car. There's no computer car, so you're racing yourself. You're setting your best times. But if you like this type of thing, this isn't bad. It also gives the visual indication of everything that's going on in terms of, you know, you can see the points you've got to pass in the race, the 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not really hiding much. It even tells you on the surfaces what type of surface they are. Unfortunately, I think I broke the car bit there. You can see from the way the car is drawn that internally it's a bit of a high resolution. And everything's sort of sub-pixel calculated. You can't play as a Hindu god. Yeah, the rotation does feel out of place, and the smoothness of it feels a bit out of place, but yeah, it's got a completely irrelevant story to it too, but, you know, we'll ignore that. I like the way it draws in the track as well. It's like one of the old graphic adventure games. You know, done with graphic adventure creative, filling in the little parts. But you see, that bit's dirt. We've got some camels and some penguins this time. I'm losing control. Now, I wouldn't pay €70 for it. Now, the ice, you see, there's a lot less grip on the ice. And back into the dirt. It does run in mode 1, which is why there are only 4 colours. But I guess because the author wanted the detail, they didn't have much choice in the matter. I do wonder what they would have done on a Spectrum, actually. Nice chicken drumstick on the right. That's to make you hungry. No. But yeah, I don't mind this one. It's an alright little game. But again, I like dirt races. I like games where you can drift around the corners on dirt and where you never feel quite in control. Although I'm obviously not doing great here. I'm slowing down too much. If you're good at the game, you can, you know, complete most of the tracks without slowing down at all. Just remember knowing where to drift. Yeah, the car does look really good. It's just a shame there aren't computer cars too, but understandably the processing power required would be a bit beyond the CPC to be simulating, you know, an extra couple of cars. And what course have we got this time? Oh, we've got a city. It's a tarmac, you see. Very purple city. And there's a whole dirt bit over there. Oop. Yeah, you turn very quickly on the tarmac. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. Yeah, okay. Because point 2 is up there, isn't it? Oops. So this isn't even an obvious circuit, because... In fact, where am I going? So one is here, and I've got to get to 2. And 3's all the way down there. Yeah, I was going the wrong way. It's not quite obvious. It's a bit of a free-form track, because 5 is there. Then I've got to go back to 1, which means I've got to go past 2. Or not. No, if I go to... Okay, I'm not allowed to go to 2 before I go to 1. Okay, you've got to plan a route, which means you're not going to the wrong one. So I get 5, then I've got to get to 1 without hitting 2, basically. So I've got to go this way. Then I've got to get to 2. And I've got to get to 3, which is right down the bottom. So you've got to work out which route works, really. Now that time. But, yeah, this one isn't in the soft list at the moment, by the way. It probably could be. It is a free download. The paid version is a completely separate thing. But, yeah, this is Deva Drift on the CPC. And it's, you know, it's a fairly good fun game from last year. Didn't win any of the awards, as far as I remember, on Zai's stream last night. But it's still a game worth playing, I think, if you've not played it before. Now, we'll go back to an arcade now. And, yeah, let's go to another drifty game. It's a vertical one. And now put the mouse on. This is Drift Out from Visco, 1991. So before the you know, the isometric perspective racing games. Oh, hey Stephen, thank you for subscribing. Before the isometric games, they were more overhead ones, and some of them went for a rotation layer. And this is one of those games that went for the whole rotation idea. I think it's analog. Yeah, it's analog. So we'll have a little look at this one. Mouse not working? Outrunners of the Outrunners. I played Cool Riders that has Outrunners of the Outrunners in the attract mode. I played Iron Man last week. I played Track Pack version. So I might play Outrunners itself at some point though. Okay. Why is the mouse not doing anything? Okay, I'll play on keyboard. For some reason it doesn't want to accept the mouse input, even though the mouse is enabled. Okay, that seems odd. That might be a bug. F-Zero. There was the Triforce version, but which MAME doesn't emulate the Triforce. I think there was an arcade Nintendo Super System version too, but that's really just the SNES version as far as I know. And I don't think that runs at the moment in MAME. I don't think the Super System games even boot. How often do I stream? It depends when I've got time. If I'm doing development, sometimes I won't end up streaming. I'll be getting on with other things. I don't have a fixed schedule, but if I am streaming, I usually try to start around 7 o'clock UK time. And usually I'll try and do at least a stream at the weekend, you know, either Friday or the Saturday. But I think there's going to be quite a few streams over the next few days because I want to do more of these multi-platform ones for May. You see, before there was World Rally though, you had these ones where the screen rotates. It would be far easier to play this on mouse, but like for some reason the analog controls weren't responding to the mouse input. I'm not sure why. This was a popular game. This had a fair few bootlegs, Drive Out and the like. And it wasn't just Visco doing these rotation games. Videosystem had their F1 games that used rotation. Namco had Dirt Fox that used rotation. Yeah, the Super System. You used to think I created MAME. No, I didn't create MAME. I just worked on it for a long time, GP. I mean, I was involved fairly early on, you know, a couple of years into the life of the project, but I think I'm one of the people who's been around longest that works on it still. But no, I didn't create it. I quite enjoy this one. Not very good at it. Never have been. It's one I played in Rain back in the day. On school computers, I think. Obviously, Drift Out would go on to have its own isometric style sequels with Drift Out 94 and Neo Drift Out, which were copying World Rally a lot more. But this original version still has its own charm, and it's a lot better than, say, Thrash Rally on the Neo Geo that can't do the rotation. There we go. Good point, RNI. Let me check. Yes, you are correct. There we go. All right. Good night, GP. Thanks for dropping by. So yeah, R09 is correct. So let's try it again. Lon Bird RAC Rally. I wanted to play the RAC Rally game on the Amiga, but unfortunately that's one of the Amiga games that doesn't work. I had a lot of fun with that one back in the day. No vodka today, I've got orange juice today. Well, tropical fruit juice. No vodka and no hot sauce. What's this stream coming to? I had milk yesterday. I had milk on the other stream, Cow, for the hot sauce. Lots of milk. Analog controls make this easier, I say, as I then proceed to crash into even more than I did last time. Okay, analog controls don't make it easier unless you've got the sensitivity correct. This never turns out well in MAME. Oh, that makes it worse. I find it's easier to change your mouse speed in Windows than it is to try and tweak the main controls for analog anything. So, yeah, never mind. I can't remember how... yeah, let's not play any more of that. At least not on mouse. But yeah, that was Drift Out. And I will follow through with Drift Out 94. Which is the direct sequel to it. This was on SSV hardware. Slicks on the C64. Again, I've not really looked at much C64 stuff. I'll have to make a note of that one, so hold on. If C64 soft list was more complete, I'd probably be tempted to try out more C64 games, but it's really not. So before there was Neo Drift Out, there was Drift Out 94, the hard order, which is this one. And 4-letter names. Monte Carlo. Order time, 1 minute. But the handling on this one doesn't feel anywhere near as refined as, say, Neo Drift Out, or nowhere near as good as World Rally. It's a bit floaty. And you seem to accelerate as you turn, which is kind of off-putting. Also, I have no idea what the announcer's saying. He probably said watch out for that. I'll have to have a look at it then if it's a game worth playing. So I finished. That was good work. I improved my driving skill. Now, I see R09 is here, so I might try that Group X game on the X68K in a bit. Because I was given some tips on how to accelerate in it. It's a tunnel. That's a bit different. A choice of possible routes to take. But, now this is one of those games that's got one of the set of protection chips on. Well, one of the enhancement chips from the SNES cartridges, except the game only checks a single value on startup. It's got an entire MCU that it just wants a single value from a single calculation on startup from. Why is this advertising Rally X? Rally X isn't a Visco game. Yes, Group X, the real driving simulator. I'm not sure how I'll do on it. It's because it's one of those where you have to manage all your gears yourself, and it's kind of hard driving, like, isn't it? In the sense that you're meant to drive it a bit like a car. Yeah, this doesn't quite work the way I'd want it to, this game. It's not bad. But I think the original Drift Out's more fun for the rotation effect and Neo Drift Out's a more refined version of this. So this one just kind of gets left behind and forgotten. And World Rally itself is, you know, a game that plays better in the first place. The crashes aren't satisfying in this, they just feel a bit clunky. I think that's maybe the main thing I feel about it. And the controls are floaty. Also, let's say the announcer makes no sense. Unless the announcers are broken, but I think it's just to say the same thing every time. Timeout. The finish is right there. Or there. Or whichever. That's a nice continue screen. Yahoo! Hey Zero Cool Acid Burn, thank you for joining. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. Anybody else I've missed? I don't think. And Santeria is here. Yes, I replied to your RAC Rally comment, didn't I? I forgot to say hello though. So hello and welcome to the stream. Do they have cows in the forest in Finland? This was the important question from earlier that didn't get answered. The realist driving simulator is race driving. See, I never quite bought that on the hard driving race driving because it's got loops in it, and I'm pretty sure you don't just find the odd loop in a regular race course. But you know, maybe I'm wrong. Right, so no, I'm mouse support, so I need a mouse. Right, so the tip I got for this one is that the help key needs to be mapped. And by default, it's not. So let's map help to home. So I've got the other controls. Don't know what that is. Switches. So we've got DS. Let's go. Z. X. So we have to select a course. I think I have to select a vehicle. Some grip, return, and then we can start. So apparently, yeah, that's turn the key. Then I have to put it in gear. No, not reverse, not reverse, not reverse. So yeah, this is a bit like Taito's Midnight Landing in the sense that everything is rendered using dots for performance, although the performance is still quite rough. So it's meant to present a sort of real environment at night, rendered with just dots. So it's quite striking in the visual effect it's going for. Gone off the track now. There's a track somewhere here. I might have broken it. Yeah, I probably went off the course and couldn't come back in the wrong place. So again, the driving lessons have really helped here. I'm doing so well. This is now super off-road, clearly. Yeah, there's the sound, the music's really good on it. I really like the sounds I'm hearing. I'm glad to have got to be able to play this, and it was just a case of really knowing that the help button needs mapping for the ignition. Because while the game lets you remap certain keys, it doesn't let you remap the accelerator or the ignition key, so they weren't listed. And I wasn't sure what to be doing. And when MAME doesn't map the help key by default, it wasn't obvious. No. I'm trying to remember what the back to menu key was on this. I'm sure there was one. Maybe I unmapped it on purpose because I was pressing it by mistake. Not realistic. Is it the N key? Yes. It was the N key. You are correct, RO9. That. So, yeah, I can change course. Now, there seem to be a lot of courses here. Let's put that course on. I think you've even got a course editor. You can make your own courses. I don't know what that says. So, am I not allowed to use that course? Okay. And I can select a machine again, a car. So these seem to say automatic transition, but I don't know how transmission, but I don't know how you actually enable automatic. Don't know what that one is. Rip. High. Yeah, I always forget that there are things that are going to use keys like that. But yeah, I'm guessing not many people have played this one in MAME. And in fact, when I was searching for, footage of X68K racing games, this seems harder to handle. I didn't even find any footage of anybody playing this in... okay, that seems like a harder machine to handle. Maybe this is one that would benefit from a faster X68K model too. So maybe I should be running it like the an 030 model or something like that. Now, there are other music tracks. I think that's a different one, isn't it? Or is that the same one? I don't know. I don't know what the default music was now. I think you're supposed to put shift up a few times until it says D. Ah, well, is that what D is? Okay. But you still need the ignition. So can I? Is the bottom corner the number of points I've got? Can I only go for things that have got like 20 points, like this one? So if I press home. I press N, so home. Yeah, so I guess you can only play the later tracks if you get enough points. That makes sense. So it's not just a simulator. So now I've got that. That's probably automatic. So yeah, I'm curious to try this with a faster model as well, because the frame rate's not the best. I think I chose the same music again, didn't I? Oh well. Ow. Now, I don't think there are going to be any cows to hit in this, because cows don't have lights on them. It was just a popular machine to develop on, Carlo. I mean, it's nothing to do with the CPS hardware at all. It's completely unrelated. It's just a development system that was used in Japan. I'm not on the road. I really should fix that. Hey look, it says gold. I said, I think I went the wrong way. I think I took the wrong turn or something. I guess looking at the map would help too. Yeah, that's the other track I should have been on, I think. Yeah, on the track. No, on the track. Oh dear. Nobody's going to let me drive, are they? Turn. Concentration. I think I've run out of time. Yeah, I mean, this game is pretty cool. It runs a bit slow, but like I said, this is the regular X68K model. I have a feeling it might run better on a faster model. But let's see, what the regular model is what? 10 megahertz 68K, so it's not the fastest hardware to be pushing a 3D game around, really, is it? Which CPU would you suggest? I mean, again, the fastest clock speed of a current generation CPU you can get really is the general advice. I mean, say my CPU is pretty old now. It's in one of the older i7s, but it's 4 gigahertz, so it still holds up pretty well. The current gen Ryzen ones are really good, apparently. But yeah, just say high clock speed current gen CPU. I'd say quad core or better is generally recommended. It's the most important part of the machine still is the CPU. For a GPU, you just want to make sure you've got something that can handle the HLSL stuff, or BGFX shaders, which I think most can these days. Shall we stick with the X68K? Right. Let's look at Full Throttle. This is an arcade port. And this is again one that really shows the X68K wasn't really designed for this type of thing. I can't tell you on stream. I don't know the part numbers off the top of my head, Andrea. So if somebody wants to look them up and compare them, I mean, I think MAME and Mess Drivers in the chat would have a pretty good idea of what a good CPU for MAME is at this point. But yeah, I don't remember the different part numbers because they're just basically random numbers to me. So load up full throttle. No disk loading noises on the X68K, I've noticed. Right. So key config, what options do we have in there? Okay. 4628. Gear spelt that way. Let's just go. Okay, can't find that. Okay, there. Okay, that'll do. So yeah, full throttle, an arcade port. And it's a bit slow. I'll tell you that right off the bat. It's a bit slow. And very blocky. If you notice that the objects at the side of the road are not very detailed at all. Now I might put the arcade version of this on next, actually, just for comparison. Again, you can see that outside of pure sprite tire map games, the X60K hardware wasn't that great. I mean, this doesn't come close to, say, the Lotus games on the Amiga. Yeah, I had a look at Chase HQ in the last stream, Andrea. Both the FM Towns and the 68K version, X68K. The frame rate here is frustrating. Very hard to control. And I'll give it another credit after this, well, another go after this, not credit, because it's not an arcade game. Yeah, half throttle. Half resolution. I mean, some of the graphics are straight from the original arcade, like the map here. And I think a lot of the others are, but they've reduced resolution and tend to look quite bad. Yeah, I think they're really struggling to get it to perform at all. So they have to make a lot of cuts. Look, when there's the full screen start barrier there, it just chugs along. It's really bad. I mean, the cars do appear in the distance, but just there's so few frames, you barely get to see them. And I didn't feel like I crashed into the side there, so the collisions are not great either. Well, this is the arcade of this isn't an all-time classic. It's a decent enough game, but it's like Chase HQ before Chase HQ. You've got your turbos, but you're not trying to catch up with anybody. So in that sense, it's probably an important game in Taito's library, because you know, they've come up with Chase HQ afterwards. I do notice there's a single line gap in some of the zoomed objects too. I don't know if that's a main thing or if that's just a game thing. But yeah, whenever there's anything that goes all the way over the course, the frame rate just drops even worse over the track. You know, the archers. What's going on? Operation Wolf. That billboard's in high resolution than anything else. Clearly advertising is more important than trees. Okay, I don't get what I questioned to. Probably the car, but... The collisions are bad. Really bad. See, I went straight through that one. Now it's slow again. I feel like there's a checkpoint coming up, but I'm not going to hit it. Oh, I am hitting it. Just, that was lucky. Or unlucky if you wanted the game to be over. The music's pretty good. I guess it's the same music from the arcade, although I'll have to find out. Tunnel. Oh. Road split, frame rate drop. They really want you to buy Operation Wolf, don't they? Sometimes using the turbo just seems to be deadly on its own. This is the 68K, the regular 68K. I think the game was designed for a regular 68K. Using the Nitro was risky on the arcade too. Yeah, on the arcade though you had a better idea of what was going on. The frame rate here is making it impossible to judge anything. We'll put the arcade on next. Also, this isn't analog controls, so I think the arcade was. Avoiding things here is trickier. And it's just those sudden frame drops, like when the tunnel appears, like suddenly you lose frames while it's drawing. It's inconsistent. Can an RX-7 go that fast? I don't know. Maybe. I've not played Outrunners yet, Andrea. I played Cool Riders, which has Outrunners in the track mode because it's the same sort of game. I might play Outrunners in a bit, actually. But let's put the arcade version of that on. What's the set name? That's the set name. So this is an 87 game, the arcade version. It has two 68Ks and a Z80, so it's a bit more powerful than the X68K, in the sense it's got twice as many 68Ks. Steering wheel, gas, okay. Brake. So instantly I can feel it's much more responsive. And it's smooth. I mean, it feels like I'm playing a completely different game apart from the music. You can see it's the same graphics. They're just much more detailed on the arcade. Same billboards, more of them. Although I'm gonna have to take a little bit getting used to the controls, as most games. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the worst offender for that MAME, but if you're used to playing other driving games, it can be a bit off-putting. So I didn't get very far. I don't know why the track starts green and then fades either, but that's an odd effect. But I'm sure that's intentional. Yeah, the music seems about very similar. But yeah, they probably had to make a few compromises. The engine sounds also kind of horrible, but I guess it's meant to sound like you're going really fast and you're destroying the car. Yeah, I mean, they did some really good ones and they did some really bad ones. I might put another really bad one soon. I don't think I played it the last time. I suppose the perspective and draw is just meant to make it feel faster. I have no idea what I hit then. Couldn't even see it. This is going well. Oh well. Yeah, you can tell I've not really played this one much before at all, like, ever. I don't really know what to expect or when to use anything. But yeah, you spin out far too easily. The slightest tap on anything, you spin out. There were various add-on boards for the X68K, yes. I don't know which specific ones. Yeah, the X68K version of this is just severely cut down, really, isn't it, with a poor frame rate. Did I play Racing Beat on the last stream? I don't think I did I? I can't remember. If I did, somebody remind me. But this is another Taito game that I don't think holds up. This is 216 megahertz, 68Ks. This has some emulation issues too, which I'll always look at shortly. It's got a pit-in button, interesting. This is Racing Beat. This has a really poor draw distance. I can't remember if I did look at this last time, but if I did, I did. But I don't understand what this line in the middle of the screen is. You see, there's a line that never goes away that looks really odd. And I don't know what would cause that. It's like the row scroll is off in part of the screen. The values jump in the table. Also, the car colours are a mess. I'm wondering if there's sort of some palette masking effect, or if it's using palettes that aren't fully aligned and expecting them to wrap or not wrap. But you can see it's probably meant to be rotating the wheels on the graphics, but instead it's flashing the colours. Also, this handles like Final Lap in the sense it's very twitchy. So I think this was Taito's attempt to do a Final Lap type game. That's all I can think of with this one. But when you're copying something that I don't think is great in the first place, it just doesn't feel much fun. It feels so slow even in high gear. Some of them do. I mean, Taito do have some good games. I mean, the thing is, this game after Continental Circus, and Continental Circus is a brilliant game. It does everything right. Whereas this and Ground Effects are both really bad. Or just really boring, maybe. I don't know. I mean, maybe this would be better if the emulation was fixed. It's something I'd probably need to look at, especially the colours on the car, because I don't really understand why it would do that if it's not some sort of palette wraparound on unaligned colours or something. Unless there's a bad ROM, but that seems less likely than an emulation issue. Especially considering there's that odd line in the middle of the screen where the line zoom gets row scroll gets misaligned, or the zoom gets misaligned. I don't understand that. And also the other cars do it too, so it's not like it's one sprite doing it. But much like Final Lap, I came in first because I'm pretty sure it's meant to be linked. But yeah, this is essentially Taito's Final Lap. Yeah, I mean, it's quite a rare game, R09. I guess it just wasn't ever very popular. Kind of understandable. I don't think it's a prototype, at least, though. But it's not one that shows up very often. It's not one you can easily find original video hardware videos of for comparisons. I've definitely played worse games than this. It's just really uninspiring. I mean, if you want this type of game, play Final Lap. I'll put on another computer or console game next anyway. We've done 2 arcades in a row with this one. I mean, I'll probably come back to some of these games again. I mean, I don't want to play this game once and then never play it again on stream. So there'll be a time when I revisit these, so it doesn't matter if I only play it for a short amount of time this time. You have to work out how much you can move the mouse without spinning. I do like the way your tyre damage is shown in the corner. That's quite effective. A visual representation of when you do need to pit. That's one of the better aspects of it. Otherwise, yeah, I'm racing against nobody because there's no link cabinet. And this is just it. It's just a circuit racer. I'm not watching Eurovision, no, Stephen. Eurovision is one of those things I tend to do as a group event, and since everybody's still a bit, you can only have like up to 6 people together. You can't really organise anything proper. Nobody's really bothered this year. Does it simulate tyre temperature? I'd be surprised if it does, MAME, but I can't rule it out. KN, I'm still no good at them. Although I still play them. I don't play them on actual hardware very often because, yeah, it just feels like a waste of a coin. People are just going to go, oh, that was a terrible performance. Actually, yeah, we'll go for a console one, or a computer one next. I think I know where I'm going to. I think we'll go back to the PlayStation. Yeah, that one. Now this was a multi-platform game. There's a Saturn version of this, but the Saturn version has a few tile map issues, otherwise I would have run the Saturn version, but PlayStation it will be. Ubisoft Entertainment. Vivid image. So watch the intro. Very Roadrunner, isn't it? This is Street Racer. Not Speed Racer, Street Racer. Did the cat sit on your keyboard, Cal? Interesting. And of course... I hadn't prepared the European PlayStation model. Down. There we go. I might play Enduro on the PCS. I'm not sure about some of the Atari 8-bit games. The 7800 emulation seems a bit rough in MAME from when I was XL at least. Didn't seem to run much stuff properly. Let's just go for the championship. Bronze. Let's be, well, Frankenstein. It's not, unless it's got multi-tap support, I don't think it can be 8 players. It's got multiple camera views though. This is the standard one. Oh, I've got to enable the... does this even support analog? Maybe not. Okay. Maybe this does not support analog. Interesting, I thought it did. Oh, this does not support analog, so regular mode it will be. I do like this camera view it has. It's sort of almost isometric. Now this was on like the Mega Drive and other platforms too, but obviously that didn't have this higher camera angle. But this gives it a real sense of speed for a little kart racer. It is. You can hit left and right with your triggers. Use your special to fly. Your turbo. Obviously I'm going to lose this race because I was figuring things out at the start. But I like this mix of a flat plane and some, you know, sprites that give it a bit of depth. Is this too early for the analog? Fair enough. I forget when they came out. It's one of those confusing things when you play in original PlayStation games. Mini kart. Obviously I'm not going to do any good because, well, I think everybody's lapped me about 3 times already. But it's nice and smooth. It's got this good perspective, and I think this is a really good kart racer for the Saturn and PlayStation. I don't like the the 16-bit versions of it, but the versions on this generation are pretty good. Now we'll give this another try. It's not. It might be on streets later, maybe. You can jump as well with up, you see. Shadow. There's also Dynamite, which I think you end up with a tag-like game where you've got to try and pass it on to somebody else or you explode. You get more stars than me, unfortunately. It's a bit rubber banded, as you can tell, but most of these kart racer type games are. Well, it's 10 laps, but they're very short laps, so they fly by really. Yeah, I've got a bomb now. I think I have to collect the bomb or hit it onto somebody else. I'm not sure. Otherwise, my car explodes. Yeah, the Saturn version of this does run, and in this perspective, it's quite playable. But if you do it in the lower down views, the sky texture is just the road again, which looks really odd. I'm not sure how that happens, but that's what happens in the Saturn version. At least in the MAME. I finished second. That's not too bad, is it? Yeah, Enduro is a good game. In fact, I'll probably put Enduro on next after this one. Although, say, MAME's frame blending does make a bit of a mess of the tyre effect on it. We're still on dirt though, and another cow sat on your keyboard. So are you in a field right now, or just have a couple of cows over, or is the whole family of cows there? Yes, I would recommend people check this one out. If they've only played the, say, the Mega Drive version, or I think the Amiga versions, which aren't great. I mean, this offers something a bit different. Let's change this perspective a little bit. But now it just feels like a cheap Mario Kart ripoff. It sort of loses that unique appeal. So I'll go back to this view. Name Hayes Watch Party. Well, as long as the milk supply doesn't dry up. A second again. Yeah, I mean it's technically more of a 2D game rather than a 3D game, isn't it? It's sprites and a flat layer, which the Saturn's actually better designed for than the PlayStation. So I'm surprised the Saturn version doesn't run him on the high resolution modes. But yeah, this is a decent game on the PlayStation and the Saturn, so it's one to check out if you've not checked it out before. Let's check out Enduro though. For the 2600, the VCS, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, again, the frame blend effect turns the wheels into a transparent block, which isn't great. I wish there was a way to turn it off, but there's no way to turn it off. It's hard-coded in the driver. But we'll live with it. How do I start this? This is fast and smooth and challenging. and difficult. Yeah, 2.5D. Let's turn it down, it's a bit loud too. So this is kind of like an into the screen Monaco GP really. You're just going along, you're avoiding the cars that are ahead of you, and that's about all there is to it. But it does what it does really well. The visuals, the way the road fades off into the distance, the sense of speed. This gets everything right. And obviously you've got the environmental changes like this. Now it's all snowy. Yeah, there weren't many racing games on it, but this one, I think this one stands out and just hold, stand the test of time. Even though I think the cars look a little bit like spiders. Is it possible to get Fearful Harmony Error on MAME's PS1 emulation? I don't know, Carl. I have no idea. I've never looked that up. Yeah, Activision back in the day for the the Atari 8-bits and the VCS did some really good games. They're just incredibly impressive, especially when you consider the hardware they were working with. It's almost like a day-night cycle. It's not quite because it's just different environments, but it feels like it. And it does go from day to night, but it's also got like the snow and everything else mixed in. When you're driving along like this, in the dark, and you just see the lights, it makes it even more intense. It's a very busy road as well. Now it's foggy. This is the you will crash. Not that I'm not already crashing, but there's a lot of extra little elements in this. That's again like Monaco GP. That's got your night parts. It's got your with headlights. It's got your foggy parts where you can't see. Well, I don't know if the original Monaco has, but a lot of the clones did. No, Monaco's got its tunnels, hasn't it? But some of the other clones expanded on that with other elements. I'm still 73rd. I don't know what the beeping is. It's probably like some check oil light that I'm just ignoring. As you do. I guess that's what happens if you ignore your check oil light, or... What are the inputs in this? So it's just a select game, reset game. Let's have another go on this one. Again, I reckon they could have put this in the arcade, and even though it's a a VCS game, people would have played it because it's simple and enjoyable. A clone with built-in games only Rev E was playable. I mean, the TV Boy things were very popular, but I think all the games were playable on those. MAME does emulate a few of those. You get them in like Argos here in the UK. Even though they're just bootleg VCS machines, or Suzuka machines. Though if you're playing those in MAME, you do need the list of game index, otherwise you're just selecting a number. I might put that on in a second actually. Not play it, but just show it. I thought that car was a lake. that doesn't really excuse trying to drive into it, but I thought, well, a puddle, not a lake. It's blue. I thought it was a frozen puddle.
it's very satisfying when you manage to pass a load of cars without crashing. But then you're always crashing it. I like the way your score rolls down the bottom too. Resistance counter. Could have easily just not done that, but it makes it a little bit more like a car. Nice touch. Doing better than last time, but not the best. There you go. I actually managed to get the bonus. Now on the second lap, I believe. No, my insurance has probably gone through the roof, Bob, unfortunately. But I just have to say the historical crashes, they happened a long, long time ago. You know, when this game came out. Not now. This is just old footage. I'm a much better driver these days. Probably spent too long playing this one now, haven't I? I should probably change game. Okay, yeah, let's change game. Right, I did mention I'd quickly look at the Super TV boy, didn't I? Very quickly, because I don't want to spend more time on these. So yeah, these give you a menu where you can just enter a number, and each number is a different game. So this is this game. This is this game. Which I don't know how to start. Apparently there aren't 190 games, so you have to... What's game 18? There we go. This is this game. So yeah, the Super TV Boy is a very old plug-and-play TV game, which has a whole bunch of Atari 2600 games built in. Yeah, that's a very impressive. It was a Betamax, I think, maybe, possibly. I don't know. Anyway, arcade games. Let's go for another bad Taito one. Did I do this one before? Again, I can't remember. This is ground effects, also known as super ground effects. You know, you can get the ground effects title. Again, it's got license cards and everything. Well, it's ground effects. You see? And then it's got this pointless effect on the screen. No, this is super. It's got super on the screen. Super ground effects. But that is controlled entirely in the service mode. Which, if I knew what the inputs map to, I'd show you. Yeah, it's just going to be isn't it? So you can change it if you know what to do. To cabinet type to So I'm not sure what changes things in here. Okay, there. So change it to that, and this should save modified data. Yeah, now it should just have the regular title without super in it. And again, I think this is mainly a game that's designed for link-up play. But now it shouldn't have the super on the title. So yeah, you change the current type and it's no longer super ground effects, it's just ground effects. Let's go to Brazil. Oh, no, let's not go to Brazil. Oh, okay, apparently we're not going to Brazil. Again, very short draw distance. I think I might have played this one on a stream before. What am I doing? Oh, up. Of course, why wouldn't it be analog Y? Again, you've got an awful draw distance. You can't see a thing. The ground is one of the least good-looking things about this game, though. Why focus on the ground in the title when it's one of the Taito's worst ground layer implementations I've seen? Look, just look how close to the camera it cuts off. Anyway, we'll try this again now I actually remember the controls. Come on, just tell me I finished him first at least, because there's no other players playing. At least Final Lap did that for me. Yeah, I assumed it referred to something else, MAME, but it does make you look at the ground layer though and think, oh, that's kind of ugly. Also, I'm not very good at taking corners, clearly. I think you're meant to slow down. Imagine that. It's got a tune playing throughout the game, so that's something that other games don't always have. I mean, Final Lap doesn't have any music in game. Surprisingly. Again, I don't know why you'd want to play this when there have been far better Taito games before this. It was banned at one point, was it? But I'm assuming you mean the technique in F1, not the game. I don't think anybody would be banning this game. Except on grounds of it just not being very good. Might ban me from driving in this game on the grounds of me causing accidents. But no, I finished 8th. This takes us on a very small planet. Yes, it does. No, I wouldn't put money in this one. It's just not impressive. And I mean, it came out when? This is 92, so this is after, you know, all Taito's great 80s games. This was a later one. Maybe with original controls it's a bit more fun. I mean, maybe. Not quite sure why the MAME's analog is XY analog rather than pedal, but that's a bit odd. I think with the steering wheel's not much better. Yeah. I'm not convinced by this one. I thought I'd show it on the stream because it's an arcade race, so that probably gets overlooked, but it's one that gets overlooked for good reason, I think. There's one Taito racing game that I'd really like to see emulated better, and that is Dangerous Curves. That's the one where one player is a car and the other's a bike. That's one I seem to remember playing or seeing once, but I don't fully remember. I've got vague memories of possibly playing Dangerous Curves. I don't remember it being especially good. Unfortunately, that doesn't boot in MAME. I think there might be an internal ROM that needs extracting from something, but I'm not up to date with that. Maybe it was extracted. Apparently my engine is in trouble. I'm probably going to destroy the car, aren't I? But no, I think in general racing games kind of had a fairly bad period before Daytona hit. There were quite a lot of games that just felt worse than what came before them. I kind of feel the same way about that with a lot of the Sega ones too. If you look at the System 32 games, F1 Exhaust Note, Super Lap, Rad Mobile, Rad Racer, they just don't feel as good as the classics, your Outrun, even Turbo Outrun. Slipstream, yeah, that was one on System 32 that was actually really good, but that was a Capcom game that basically didn't get distributed outside of South America. Hey SB, how are you doing? Thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. So, yeah, we've got a little bit left of the stream. Slipstream. I want to do another computer game. Actually, yeah, let's put Slipstream on. Actually, let's put Slipstream on. What the control set to? Space is change gear. I probably want mouse, don't I? Okay. Now this, as the name would imply, has a slipstream mechanic, which you won't be seeing me making effective use of. But this was Capcom. I think this is Capcom acknowledging that, you know, none of the Capcom's own hardware could do a racing game, so they went to Sega to do it on the System 32 board. But then, due to when it was about ready, you know, it was going to hit the market when? 95. It's a bit late for a 2D racer. Let's go for the worst handling, the best acceleration, the high max speed, and rubbish rain grip. That sounds perfect for my driving skill. Oh dear. MAME shift is actually a little bit redundant on this one because it shows you on the screen. Maybe keyboard's easier on this one, I don't know. Probably not. Maybe pad's easier on this one. maybe I've not got anything mapped for pad. Hold on. Right. Let's just go with that and that and see if it works better. I really don't know. So I'm trying to find some controls that work for this that I can use. I did stream Getaway when it was added briefly. I mean, that's another one that's very Monaco GP influenced. So yeah, I think pad might be the way to go for controlling this one. Although I should put it in high gear really, shouldn't I? I'm not going to win anything in low gear. But in static screenshots, this one looks awful because the road just looks low resolution and not nice at all. But when it's moving, this is actually a really impressive looking game. There we go, slipstream, you get a little boost. Now luckily, even if it's a Brazilian set, the majority of it is in English, so you can still play it quite easily. Maybe some Foster's adverts as well. So drive behind the cars. Let's get the boost. There we go. Even flashes the game logo for you. Finished. I won. You think this one's average, Robert? I actually really like this one. Yeah, and it works much better with the analog sticks, as I've found. And yeah, I think this is better than any of the actual Sega games on the platform. Oh dear. How do you use the turbo, or do you not use the turbo? Is it like start? Yeah, start button. I should really map the start button to a pad thing to use the turbo. I've got no turbos left now. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind with this. The start button is also the turbo button, so if you're playing on pad, do make sure to map start to one of the pad buttons that's easy to access, which I haven't done, so but no, I was really impressed by this, and it probably should have got a wider release. It was one of the last System 32 games to work as well, aside from some of the protected ones, because it uses certain V60 features that nothing Sega did use. It also didn't get ported to anything, did it? And low gear. Well, that's not going to do any favours. Good sense of speed though with this one. Oh, there we go, I failed. Hey Jasper, thank you for joining, fellow Jasper. Yeah, it is a little bit late. I mean, we're hitting about 3 hours now. Yeah, we're on 2 hours, 49 minutes. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming this for.
probably not too much longer, because I think I'm probably going to wrap about 3 hours. So there'll probably be another game or so, but yes, it is quite late at this point. You learn about Fosters from Beneath the Steel Sky. Oh, interesting. Thomas, would you like to expand on that? I mean, I played Beneath the Steel Sky, but I don't make the connection there. Really dense rights on the side of the road, yeah, opposite Taito. I mean, the System 32 board could push a lot of rights around. It was a decent board that I just don't think ever got fully used to its potential. Anyway, let's have a look at a port. Now, for some reason, this isn't in the software list, so I had to add it. This is the Mega Drive prototype of Danny Sullivan's Indie Heat. You would have thought after, Off-Road proved to be a popular game, this would have got a release, but apparently it did not. So, yeah, I don't know why this isn't in the software list. It is marked as, potentially modified because it was dumped from a repro cart, not the original prototype. But still, a repro cart is still, something that's commercially available as a bootleg, basically. So, it should probably be in the software list. Hold down the trigger. It's not as good as Super Off-Road in terms of the game, but even the arcade original is not as good as Super Off-Road. Let's go into the pit and get my fuel back. But still. Oh dear. And I lost. Yeah, Golden Axe 2 should have had a Saturn release. Again, odd business decisions by Sega. Kind of what you expect from Sega, unfortunately. So yeah, if anybody actually wants to submit this for the software list, might not be a bad idea. I think I'm going to have to submit a few of the things I have been playing on stream myself at some point, but it's a case of tidying them up, because I've not always added proper checksums and stuff when I've been doing it just for streaming. At least I don't think it's in the software list unless it's been added since I last checked. Because I know there were some editions, but I didn't see this noted. BMX Simulator. Yeah, that's one I should probably cover at some point. Or Professional BMX Simulator, it's got more courses. I mean, again, that's early Codemasters, so important for other reasons. I could never quite get the hang of BMX Simulator as a kid, but playing it more recently, I've enjoyed it a bit more. The fuel tank is tiny on this to start with. You have to basically pit in every lap. Otherwise, you're going nowhere. Yeah, as the prototypes go, this seems to be a playable version of the game. Oh, Robert Foster, because he's the Foster child and found the Foster's game. Alright, fair enough. I say I don't remember it in that much detail. A lot of these older games I don't. I mean, my friend was doing a playthrough of Grim Fandango on his channel before. It's like, I don't remember any of this game, and 90% of the the references I didn't get at all as a child.
Didn't realise how sexual some of the jokes were and things like that. So that was Indie Heat Prototype on the Mega Drive, which can be found on Hidden Palace, I believe. I think we've got time for one more game. I did say I'd play Outrunners, didn't I? So I think that probably makes sense. I'm probably going to have to put this on single screen mode. Yeah. Screen not standard. Is the sound game assignments advertise sound off? No. Not cheating at all. You want advertise sound off on these, otherwise the second screen sound will interfere. Guns. Well, there's the starting gun-o-matic. But yeah, the pit stop is the gimmick in that one. Indie Heat on the Amiga. Yeah, I think it... I don't know if it was considered good on the Amiga. I know it was on the Amiga. Super Off-Road is the one that everybody likes. Since it is National Goth Day, let's pick the black car. Now it's going to be on one side of the speakers, again your headphones or speakers, because it's a dual screen game. And that's what happens. World Goth Day, that's the one. Not National Goth Day. So you saw me play Cool Riders on the previous stream if you were on that stream, which is basically a completely reworked version of this game. And Sega don't really try to hide that. I mean, it still says Outrunner or Outrunners on the title, on the high score screen, I think. But this is Outrunners itself, which is a much more traditional game, even if it's got that silly laugh track on the crashes. But this will be the final game for this stream, I think, because I've got other things to catch up with. I didn't get to play Looking Wild. This won't be the final game for this stream. I did say I'd have a quick look at Looking Wild too, so we're going to have a little bit of stream overtime after this one. So I'm probably going to play this race and then switch to Looking Wild. I always say I'll play things and then never get around to them, and then realise after the streams I said I'd do this, and didn't. But yeah, since the Namco bug fixes was a focus of this, I should look at Looking Wild and things with. Let's go for the underwater tunnel. Now, I don't know if the emulation of this is perfect in MAME, because it's come to light fairly recently that there are quite a lot more bugs in the System 32 games than we realised. So the driver does need a good revisit at some point. But it seems to play well enough from what I can tell. Yeah, I've got it on extended time for everything, so I'm not having to drive especially well. This is more just a tour of the game, but I might still fail. Nice sharks up there, because this is the underwater tunnel. In Paris. That's why there's not much traffic, because I think that's what Easy does, it just turns the traffic right down. Through the arch. I'm still crashing into everything. I've not really tweaked the controls for this either. I'm playing on keyboard. It's probably another one that's actually better on pad. I'm not going to finish this. I'm not even do the extra time. That would be embarrassing. Japan, save me. We've still got a Looking Wild machine. Looking Wild's going to be a pain to map the controls on, from what I remember, because it's meant for 2 players, really, isn't it? We'll see if the sound is improved. I don't really know what I'm looking for on the sound on that one, though. People just said the voices don't trigger often enough in MAME before. I do know the road emulation's better. Yeah, even with a whole minute of extra time, I have failed this. We shall not speak of this. Well, that's just how these driving games go, isn't it? So yeah, we made it almost to the end.
I'll meet you here tomorrow, same time, babe.
Yeah, Paris is kind of in the wrong place on that map, isn't it? Never mind. But there you go, outrunner of outrunners. Guns, pedal and wheel, all working SB. It's one of those interesting designs. I mean, Namco did do a few designs that were a bit out there. I mean, there's a 2D game, a dungeon crawler thing that requires 2 players as well, which MAME for some reason maps to left and right player 1 sticks, when really I think it's 2 players. I don't really understand that. Return of Visco or something like that, I can't remember. So this one.
Okay, let's go.
Now, yeah, I wanted the mouse again, didn't I? Problem is, yeah, there's too much going on. You've got light gun and you've got analog controls. So you've got pedal. So you basically end up not knowing what you're doing. So track mode seems quite quiet. Maybe I can change that. Track sound is off. Okay, let's turn track sound on then. I hope I've not just uncalibrated the controls. Shift. No, I don't want to change the number of coins. Yeah, P2 fire. Left shift. No, that's not it. P1 start. That's not it. That's not it. This is very frustrating. Oh, Z and X. Okay, the paddle. Right. The paddle analog, which is not mapped to anything else. Okay. Because of course. And then we've got shift. Okay. And I'll change that.
Okay, let's go.
Now maybe we've got a track map. Yes, unfortunately, Andy, the stream will be ending fairly soon. This is the last game. This is basically a bonus game, just to see if the sound improvements apply to Looking Wild too. And I definitely don't have the control set up properly. Apparently I didn't save the track mode change. Okay. How do you save changes in this one? Do I have to do that?
Okay, let's go. Watch out.
So. So I don't know if they talk more now or not. But the road is more centered now, you'll notice, because the road centering fixtures apply to this one. There's still that sprite flicker I need to look into. Does seem to be quite talky. Now, the fun part. What are the controls even remotely set to here?
That's him. Okay, let's go. No, my car's crashed.
So,
I'll make you pay. You creep.
so I have no fire. What's fire? That shift, okay. So I really want fire to be mouse. Okay. Right, maybe. Yeah, yeah. It takes a while to work out how to control this. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, it's a specialist cab, really, isn't it? It's not a generic cab in any way. It's custom controls. A game that's not really like any other. And it does that over-the-top thing like this much better than, say, Taito Super Chase, where you go through the shopping mall and it just feels really bad. So I'll continue. So yeah, it just reminds me of Taito Super Chase in the sense of it's over-the-top action, but I don't like Super Chase, whereas this one I think is quite enjoyable. But it is more complicated to play. But here you can see the road seems to be more aligned with the tunnel, which is one of the test cases I noticed on the videos. I think you're also meant to avoid things by driving from side to side, not just shoot. So is anybody familiar with the game?
Well done.
Can say if the sound is better or not. Night Stalker. Ah, that's another one. I almost played that, but not this time. Good sound design as you get with all Namco games, really. Anyway, that's why it's hard to tell if there's anything wrong, because it's always sounded good to me, but apparently there were a lot of sounds missing before.
That's it. No, my car's crashed.
This is one of those where the main crosshair is actually just annoying. It gets in the way. You don't need it because... Well, you do need it if you're calibrating it, I guess. But once it's calibrated, I should probably turn it off. I think the rasters are still a line off there. But again, tweaking those breaks other games. Burning Force has the rasters a line off, but if you tweak the rasters there, I think 4 tracks and some others break. They end up with a line gap instead. I'm going to drive slow here. Got the bombs on my car. No, 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 no. Get off my car. Get off my car. Bit of a glitch when you exit certain sections there with the sky too. Again, the Namco emulation in general, for most of the Namco systems, still needs a fair bit of work. It's not really seen much attention in a lot of years. Unfortunately, say original references are hard to come by for a lot of these. You've got a lot of wobbly cam videos, but they're not ideal. I've not looked for original references for this one as much. I found the one I needed for the tunnels, and that was it. Yeah, player 2 gets the gun, player 1... Player 2 gets their own gun. Player 1's got the car and the gun. But if you've got a second player, you've got a second gun. Obviously you don't get a second car. So it's just like player 2 is a bonus player for an extra set of hands to shoot with.
Well, that's it. Well, nice job.
Yeah, 2 guns, 1 steering wheel. Oh yeah, you could play it that way if you wanted to. Well, it's probably quite a cool way to play it. I mean, ideally, we need. I could do with steady cam footage or direct PCB output. To actually get nailed down the exact pixels. Anyway, we are a little over 3 hours. I'm probably going to play this stage and then turn this off.
That's it. Watch out.
But to me, the sound is good. The sound seems good here. It's plenty talkative. So if it's meant to be even more talkative than this, then we're probably going to end up in awesome possum territory. So I'm hoping this is fixed and talking as much as it should.
Continue.
Well,
What are we going to do?
well, you're going to wait for the continue to expire. See, it's not saying anything now, so maybe this is where there's missing voices. I don't know. Or maybe it's not meant to have voices here. It is making a sort of buzzing noise.
Let's stop now. Well, nice job.
So, I don't know. But yeah, if anybody knows if that's improved, let me know. If it's not, then we might have to look to see if there's anything else that's potentially wrong with it in terms of the sound. But yeah, for this stream, that's it. I mean, there's still loads of driving games on this list I've not covered. I really want to do the other X68K games. But maybe there'll be a third part to this. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't really meant to be driving games, but that could be a case. It could be what it becomes. Yeah, both guns have X and Y. So I think player 1 just has more to think about with the driving too. So yeah, that's it. Thank you to everybody who has joined in the chat and been chatting away and talking and even coming up with random facts and suggestions, things I didn't know. I mean, I found the Novotrade thing with that Hungaroring game really interesting, and I would not have found that out otherwise. So much appreciated, the research done there. Say good night, Santari. Good night, MAME, SB, Mobob, Andy, Thomas, Cow, Mess Drivers, MAME, Erratic, Jasper, Robert PL, R09, Carlo. Keep scrolling. Stephen, who was here earlier. Always good to see you. Aaron, who was here earlier. Again, always good to see you. Regulars. I really appreciate the regulars being here. KN. Andrea. Yes, again. So yes, plenty of people. Costado dropped in as well. That was good to see you. So yeah, I anyway, I'm not going to scroll all the way back because Zero Cool Acid burned there too. So yeah, thank you for everybody. Take care. And so I'm going to try and ramp up the string a little bit as the month comes to an end, so that I get some of the content I wanted to get done in this month done, because I've not done much at the start of the month. So there'll probably be some more streams in the coming days. So hopefully I'll see you all again then. Take care, and I'll catch you when I catch you. Bye bye.